We're here. Of 5-Star Broadcast. I'm Andy Peck.
And I'm Angelo Parenti.
And it's been a little while since we did this.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
A lot's happened. We took a little break for a little bit. We both had some things going on, and quite frankly, the product was a little stale and boring.
Yeah, I mean, even now it has its ups and downs, and no matter how boring it got, like, I'm sure we both still watched it, but, yeah, sometimes it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
But now there's just, like, it's not just WWE, there's so much other stuff going on, and with all the guys coming to NXT, like, that's, I think you and me are pretty into that just as much as the WWE, like the main roster product.
Yeah, I'm more excited for like NXT now than anything else, and we'll touch on more of that in a little bit, but like I think wrestling in general just got more exciting because there's always been like Ring of Honor and New Japan and all those other promotions, but I feel like they're becoming more accessible. Like we were just talking, New Japan's going to be on regular TV around here. Certain people are going to be able to get it. Ring of Honor is on certain CW. I don't know if you guys have CW, wherever you're watching, but it's going to be on there. So all these shows are starting to come to like actual TV stations.
It's good that they're on TV stations because sometimes when it's like they're not, some people just, me for instance, like if I don't know much about it, it's just going to take a lot for me to go out of my way to search on a computer to find out where I could watch these. Like, I'm just not... I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to be like a dick about it, but I don't feel like having to go searching and downloading or find live streams and stuff like that. But,
you want to know a specific time when something's going to be on so you could sit down and watch it almost. I could understand that. But... you know, a lot's happened since we've been gone. Some major points. We're not going to go super deep into these because if you're a fan, you probably already know this stuff. CM Punk, he's still gone. I know that was one of our main talking points for a while before we left. If CM Punk would ever return, we got that question every week, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, like Andy said, like we have no reason to like go into super specifics about all this stuff because everyone's heard about it. Everyone's talked about it, read about it. I guess
he's talked about it.
Yeah,
like
I think the only thing really
no
is just to give, since we haven't done this in a while, to give our personal like views on it. And as far as CM Punk, like when the whole Colt Cabana thing dropped, and you kind of got to see his sides of the story, and then at the first one, you listened to both of them, definitely, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to think because like. You don't know who to believe. I mean, everything he says kind of seems true, but then you catch things here and there, and I'm just a little confused now because it's like he left for WWE mainly because of injuries, but he's going into UFC where you're pretty much 100% gonna get hurt.
I think he left WWE because he was not specifically because he was getting injured. I mean, he was worn down, beaten.
All the stuff he said about, like, if that's true about he wanted to do sponsors, they wouldn't let him. Brock Lesnar did sponsors. Yeah. He got a movie offer.
Randy Orton
took it from behind his back. Like, if the shitty things that happened to him are true, to take that stuff, like, and just getting shit on nonstop, I guess it just all adds up,
I think that's what it was. It was in UFC, he's going to get injured, but at least he has more control over what he does as like a person. Whereas in WWE, he had to answer to people and take their creative direction. And I guess for him, it was just kind of like, what's the point in doing this if I have no control over what's happening to me? I'm injuring myself for nothing. At least with UFC, he's had time to heal. So, I mean, he's all rested up. He's had a full year now. He's been gone. And then he's going to have the rest of this year to train, I guess. I don't know when exactly his start date is for UFC.
I guess, like you said, no one really knows who to believe. But I guess the thing is, the final question, do you ever see him being back in the WWE?
I honestly, I don't think so. I know the businesses never say never, but if one person was going to stick to their guns and not come back, I see it being him.
Yeah, the only thing that made me like think a little different is I saw him do like a because he did, after that the Colt Cabana thing happened and then he announced UFC, like he's been like speaking a lot, like doing a lot. And one of the interviews on some UFC or Fox thing, and he was like, he didn't come out and say no. He's just gonna say like he was just like, right now I don't want to wrestle. Like that's the way I see it. He's like, I don't you never know what's gonna happen or whatever.
I guess let me rephrase what I said before. I don't see him wrestling for the WWE again. I could see him coming back, especially with New Japan taking off the way it is. I could see him coming back to New Japan in a few years.
I think I could,
if that builds momentum.
How huge that is in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna go to TNA or Ring of Honor. Like, why?
I could see him going back to Ring of Honor just as a fuck you to Vince to help elevate Ring of Honor.
I would see it as like, I don't know if it would be like a full-time thing. Though,
no, but I could see him. Yeah, I could see him. Well, think about it. They film their shows now. I think 3 episodes at a clip on one weekend or whatever. Maybe a few episodes in a weekend. So essentially, he could go back, film, an episode on a weekend, have a couple weeks off or whatever. I don't know. He could be a full-time face on TV,
Yeah, I guess let's just see how long this UFC thing lasts.
I feel like every week we're going to talk about CM Punk, even though he's gone. But other things that have happened since we've been gone, Daniel Bryan won the WWE title, then got injured, and has now recently returned after his neck injury.
Yeah, tonight, it's Thursday right now, we're recording this, he's fighting on SmackDown.
Yeah, he was fighting Kane on SmackDown as I was leaving to coming up here.
I read that he won by disqualification. It was right in the beginning.
Yeah, the first thing on SmackDown was him.
So the main event is like a 6-man tag. So it's
he's
like
in it?
Him, Roman Reigns, and maybe Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I didn't actually read the spoilers. I was planning on watching it, but then surprise, we came back.
Yeah, against Kane, Big Show, and Seth Rollins. Which is, I mean, a pretty decent 6-way for SmackDown, but we were also talking, it's just, they need to make SmackDown to make it a main focus. You can't, it's like the matches don't matter.
Yeah.
Because they're having Kane versus Daniel Bryan again on Raw.
Yeah,
with a big stipulation that if he loses, he's not in the Royal Rumble. It's just, I mean, if you want more people to come to watch SmackDown, you should have made the stipulation that for SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like, especially for the first episode of SmackDown, like to get people to switch over from Friday night and remember it's on Thursday and to, do good in the ratings, which is all they really care about for your first time back on Thursday. Why not have a big stipulation like that where if Daniel Bryan loses, he's out of the Royal Rumble? I think more people would have tuned in, and we might not be sitting here doing this right now. We might be actually watching SmackDown. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just little things like that get frustrating where it seems like they constantly mess up and don't really value their own product. Like, they're putting this out there, and how are we supposed to care about it when it seems like they don't care about it?
I told myself I was gonna stop being so negative and complaining. So sometimes it's best to say nothing at all. But it's just it's you catch them contradicting themselves too, where it's we're PG, we don't want to do certain things but then all they talk about is the Attitude Era. Yeah. And if it's okay to talk about an era that was so non-PG, why can't you just settle in the middle? And I'm not even talking about putting women half naked and cursing. I just really, really think when you just slam us with the goofy comedy stuff and nobody takes anything seriously. Look at the guys who came up from NXT. Everyone who had a goofy gimmick hasn't gotten as far as the other people who are serious.
Adam Rose.
Look at Big E now.
Yeah.
I mean, he had, when he wasn't doing this New Day thing that I don't see getting far, Yeah, Xavier Woods. Like, it's just... But Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, like, they came out and, like, they were taken seriously.
Yeah, they had more of a serious gimmick. And to go back to New Day, I was expecting them to be completely different.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a heel.
I thought they were too,
faction.
and I thought they were going to try to save people and come out and say, you've sinned and
that's
stuff.
That's what that first time, and then it disappeared. Like I guess Xavier came on and like Raw, and then it stopped. And then
I think maybe they'll go back to that. I hope
they do something.
Yeah, if you look at Raw, they had all the heels out around the ring for that lumberjack match, and there weren't that many people out there. So I think they could pull New Day to the heel side and let them do their thing over there and try to recruit people for their New Day and save them and all that. And
yeah, that would have been. I mean, that would have been really cool. But I don't know. I just don't get it.
So another thing now, moving on, the Shield split up while we were on our little break.
And I guess, like we were saying, that we all know the Shield split up, but, like, how about we just do it this? What, out of all those three people, like, who's where, what do you think of where they're at, and all that?
So...
I guess this is where we're going to have this Roman Reigns talking.
Yeah. Let's save that for last. Seth Rollins, he went on, and he won the Money in the Bank, and is now kind of the focal point of Raw for most part. I mean, he's been in the closing segment for the last few weeks now. He's been with the Authority. And while he's not the WWE champ and not John Cena, he's right up there with them. And he delivered a hell of a promo to finish off Raw. Yeah, he's going back and forth with Paul Heyman.
I'm seeing that on SmackDown. He's doing the same with Paul Heyman.
Oh, again
really,
tonight?
like another good promo. So, yeah. And now, what about Dean Ambrose?
I have mixed feelings on what they're doing with Dean Ambrose.
I listened to, I think it was either with Jericho or Austin's podcast, and like I think he's great, but he seems like he like admits that like he doesn't know what's going on, or they doesn't know what's going on. He just goes out there and does whatever.
He's really good at what he does, and that's why it's still working. Like he just, I mean. Part of his gimmick is he's nuts and crazy, so it's kind of okay that they don't have a specific direction for him right now, but in the long term, they're going to need something. Yeah. And he just keeps losing, which, I mean, wins and losses at this stage in WWE don't necessarily hurt somebody like Dean Ambrose, but at the same time, he can't be losing every single match he's in, especially big matches against... He's lost every match against Bray Wyatt, right?
That's the thing. I just think, like, there's these matches that don't need to be... being done so many times every week.
Yeah.
Look at the Wyatt family is this team. They get split up, and they're not split up on bad terms. I guess the storyline was Bray let them go or whatever. So then Luke Harper and Eric Rowan just face each other.
For no reason. Never explained.
Like they're just two guys who, it's just a normal match. And then they do it again the next week or on SmackDown. And there's that could have been like a storyline build up to a pay-per-view match.
Yeah, that could have been a big pay-per-view match if they did it right. But they didn't. They just let it happen for no reason.
And they were the Shield and the Wyatts. They had those multiple pay-per-views. Like when they first got in the ring together, people were going crazy. So this was like a close-knit team to see like them turn on each other, like the Shield. Yeah. Like the Wyatts shouldn't just face each other.
Yeah. There needed to be more of a build-up. And I think, for whatever reason, I think they did that quick, like having Rowan take on Harper, just because they needed somebody for that Survivor Series team. I really think that's what it came down to.
Yeah, I think even like further what it's coming down to is they're running out of people.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of top people.
Yeah.
So I think if it continues like that, and if people get injured, like when Reigns was out, Bryan was out, maybe they're gonna have to, bite the bullet and call on some guys from a while ago, because I know they don't like to bring people back
or call up NXT people, which I hope they don't do, because NXT's amazing. But we'll talk about that later. I guess now is where we're gonna butt heads, Ange, because I hate Roman Reigns with a passion. Maybe more so than, I don't want to say I hate John Cena, because I don't think he's terrible. I think the way they book him is terrible, but I hate Roman Reigns. I don't think he does anything right.
I just think Roman Reigns, he's like, the shit he says,
Is that shit?
it's not like he's the one who's writing that shit.
No, it's true.
He's being told to say that shit. And yeah, when he first came back from his injury, he was a lot sloppier, but on Raw, whatever he said was bullshit. Like, it was dumb, but I think he delivered it better than the weeks before. Like, I think he's improving. And for as lame as another Big Show, Roman Reigns, like, I do not want to see the Big Show, but when he talked in his promo, like, it didn't seem, like, scripted. Like, I don't want to hear the Big Show talk, but he just seems like he's, you know, I mean, I guess he's been there forever, so he's probably good on the mic, you know? But yeah, I'm not against Roman Reigns. I think he could be cool. I just think that what they're making him do isn't helping him.
I thought Roman Reigns was alright when he was with the Shield, and I think it was just because Seth and Dean were so much better than him that he kind of just fell in the back, and he did moves where he needed to, did the Superman punch, did that drop kick on the ring apron, did his spear, whatever, but he wasn't the focal point. Now they're trying to make him the focal point, and he's not ready, number one.
Yeah, I just think it, too, like, well, I'm not saying you think as if you're wrong, but, like, they're shoving him down your throat, and you don't want it. Like, you don't want him to be what everyone's saying the next
I want Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins to be up top.
Yeah, I mean, they're all going to, I think, could be up top because
I think so, too.
They have to be. Like, who else is going to take that spot? But it's just weird when people automatically assume that, you know, Reigns and Lesnar in the main event, or, you know, Reigns is going to be the next John Cena. Like, I don't think John Cena's going anywhere, so...
I see him hanging up within the next 2 years, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
That guy doesn't stop.
But, true, but at the same time, how much longer could he go? I don't think he's gonna want to go to a point where he's like Hogan, or he's like Flair, where he's...
Yeah, I think people are not... I think a lot of people have seen other people's mistakes, and they're not gonna, you know... They're going to think about their future outside of wrestling. That's
what I mean. I don't think he's going to want to be hobbling around in a few years. I think he's going to go out while he's still able to go out on top, because he seems like a man that like kind of prides himself on... He does have decent matches, and I think he prides himself on that, and I don't think he's going to want to be one of those guys that hangs around too long because people already hate him. So why is he going to hang around until he's old and putting on shit matches? And I mean, how much longer is he going to be able to do the FU or attitude adjustment? You know, his back's going to give out. So I don't know. I see him kind of, maybe even last year at WrestleMania was kind of him pulling back a little bit when he took on Bray Wyatt instead of putting himself in the main event, which he probably could have if he wanted to. Yeah, I mean,
last year when WrestleMania was going on, I think we were even like, John Cena's not in the main event.
Yeah, he's in the background.
This year, I don't really see John Cena in the main event again. I keep hearing about him and Rusev.
Yeah, which I think again is him maybe bringing up another top star, which or a future top star by giving a bump to Rusev like he did Bray Wyatt last year. Except Bray Wyatt got squashed and didn't really get anything out of that, in my opinion. But
yeah, it kind of went downhill. Didn't we? We were at that one where it was like the cage match and the little kid came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was creepy, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's different, I guess, but... Yeah, I'm not completely, like, done with Roman Reigns. Like, I'm with them. I think he could be cool. I think if he's not, you know, telling us nursery rhymes, it could be... it could get better, but I guess we'll have to see.
Well... Yeah, moving on, I guess. We talked a little bit about new people coming up. Since we've been gone, NXT, in my opinion, has become the must-see WWE show. Every week, it's the best show on TV.
There's never a bad show.
Yeah.
They might not be as good as another one, but
yeah,
it's always good. It's always entertaining.
And they make me even care about Bull Dempsey. Somehow they make me care about Bull Dempsey.
My guys right now are Finn Balor and Baron Corbin.
See, Baron Corbin, I liked him until he did that when they did those vignettes where he's on the motorcycle in the rain.
I didn't see those.
If you haven't seen them, you need to watch these. He's just like on his motorcycle and there's this terrible like CGI rain, and he just.
I'm glad I didn't see those.
He talks in it and it just sounds like garbage, and I was all about him until that.
I think with right now with Baron Corbin, with the way he is, like he doesn't talk.
Yeah.
He doesn't say much if he says anything.
That's how Roman Reigns should be.
That's what I was just going to say. That's how he should be.
Yeah. So, yeah. NXT, for me, you said your top guys are Baron Corbin and Finn Balor.
He's my top, like... I just really enjoyed even though like Baron Corbin's matches were like 30 seconds, but
that's fun. That's what I liked about him, because people were counting down, and like even then Bull Dempsey, people were counting down, and when his match went longer than,
and even like the, I guess the look, like even the tag, like with the
Vaudevillains and Lucha Dragons.
Yeah, I could even watch that, like because there's these like the wrestling, like the moves that come out of nowhere, and like it's just very entertaining. Not like there's not a lot of bullshit in the show, you know.
And even those matches that happen on even NXT's weekly shows make sense. Like this past week, Lucha Dragons faced Vaudevillains because the Vaudevillains complained that the legal man wasn't in the ring when they got pinned at NXT our Evolution. So, like, that makes sense. It's little things like that make the product so much better than WWE's main programming.
And I think, though, to, like, take some of the like, blame down, I just think a lot of it, too, comes down to NXT is only an hour.
That's true.
Raw's 3 hours, and they have a lot of time to fill. But they don't have to fill it with stupid shit.
Yeah. They could fill it with longer matches that are better. Mm-hmm. Like, they've had some episodes where I was like, wow, why don't they do this every week? Why don't they put on Dolph Ziggler against Wade Barrett for 15, 20 minutes, you know? Why don't they put Cesaro against whoever for 20 minutes? Like, they don't do that enough, and I think that's what hurts them. But... yeah. I don't know. I guess moving on to some other things that have happened while we've been out. We talked about it a little bit before. Some new promotions started making waves. Not so much that they're new to, wrestling fans in general, but, you know, they're getting more attention. Like New Japan, Ring of Honor, Chikara came back last year, Lucha Underground, you know, those promotions. So Wrestle Kingdom 9 happened. What are your thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom 9? I know
I did watch it. I did enjoy. I loved hearing JR and Matt Striker. Like, it was great to hear JR call matches and stuff. I got the whole, like, the wrestling was really good. I think the only thing I didn't like was Jeff Jarrett's wife out there. That pissed me off, because it just seemed like the annoying, like, wife or girlfriend that when you're hanging out with your friends, she has to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And she can't, like, separate. Like, she doesn't need to be there. Her husband is a big part of it, so she has to be there. But excluding that, like, my thing was, when I watched it because I heard so much about it, I wanted to you know, hear JR, and I didn't know anything about New Japan. I didn't know any of the wrestlers. I didn't know any of the storylines. So going into that, you know, I enjoyed watching the wrestling, but because, like, I didn't know anything, and I don't even know if there's a weekly show. I don't know if the next pay-per-view isn't for if it's a monthly thing or something like that. So it's like, I'm not saying I wasn't expecting to even watch it again. I just didn't know what was going to happen. I watched it to watch it. I wanted to see, you know, what all the talk was about. And I got it. Like, I see what was going on. But it's just really hard to keep your attention on something that you don't know much about. And it's like, I don't know. I think the Japanese, like, a lot of it is, like, really, like, I don't want to say, like, it's just out there and, like, the way they act is really different than the way, you know, guys on WWE or even NXT act, but it's just the way they are and the way we are, you know?
Yeah. No, they have a different style for sure. I think I understand like what you're saying. You kind of felt like disconnected from it because you didn't have experience with it. I mean, I don't have too much experience with Japanese product. I have watched some stuff here and there. I watched they have a big tournament every year in like August. So I watched some of that this past year, and I guess I got a little more familiar with some of the characters there. But I've definitely grown more interest coming from Wrestle Kingdom 9 in the New Japan product, and I want to continue watching it. I believe there's a weekly show coming up soon, and then I'm not sure when their next big pay-per-view event is, but you know, I thought it was a really good event. How you were saying with Jeff Jarrett's wife coming out and everything, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong because I'm not super familiar on this, but the Bullet Club, which Jeff Jarrett's a part of, they're almost like the NWO in a way, but with New Japan and Japanese wrestling, it's more of like a serious thing. Like they take it like an actual sport. Like those people are like our sports.
Like, I definitely got that. Like, they're. But you could tell how serious they were about everything. Like but yeah.
That's kind of where I think Bullet Club comes in because they're more of like sports entertainment stuff. You know what I mean? Where like, or maybe not sports entertainment, but kind of like the American side of things where we have those stupid things like people's wives coming out and things like that. I think that's kind of why she's there, to kind of represent like the Bullet Club coming in like that. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens going forward. Would you watch New Japan again? If it was on a weekly show, would you try to stay with it and follow it?
I would definitely, like, when it comes to any like TV show, you'll give it a shot. You'll try to watch it, but you know, if you don't connect with it, there's nothing you could do about it. Like,
true. So there might be stuff we split up on here. You might have to talk going forward. You might have to talk about something. I'll talk about New Japan if it comes down to that. Recently,
I don't know what it was, but with the WWE Network, I something triggered that I needed to watch a pay-per-view in like it might have been like a WrestleMania in 1999. So then I was like, you know what? This is like when there was like, you know, what we always talk about was like the Austin Rock, that type of era. So I was like, I'm gonna watch every single pay-per-view starting now. So I'm in the 2000s and
wait, every single pay-per-view from that 1999 one?
Yeah, I'm at like something into Judgment Day in 2000. It's like the 1 hour ladder match between The Rock and Triple H.
How often do you watch them?
Every day I just, if I'm doing something,
put it on.
I just put it on, I let it go. There's just a lot of stuff that happened that, you know, you get, oh man, like stuff that you forgot and all that good stuff. But
maybe going forward we should each pick a pay-per-view for each episode and kind of go over what was going on during that time as kind of like a throwback and, you know, see what was happening. That could be cool. The next thing we have, we got some talk about, you know, the Royal Rumble coming up, and we're actually going to be talking about new promotions and new interests and stuff. Chikara came back recently. They came back last year. We're going to be attending Chikara and the Royal Rumble on the same day in Philly. That's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's your first Chikara event, right?
Yep.
You're in for a treat. I don't know if you've watched Chikara before, but it's kind of... Have you watched Chikara at all?
No.
Okay. Chikara, if you haven't watched it, it's goofy, it's silly, but it's fun. Like, Chikara is one of the most fun wrestling shows I've attended. Chikara and wrestling is fun. They're both awesome promotions. Definitely check them out if you haven't. I think you're going to have a blast, even though it's goofy.
I'm excited. It's going to be a full day of wrestling.
Yeah.
You said it's in the old ECW?
Yeah, Chikara will be in the old ECW arena. I think it's now called Arena 203 or something. Yeah. Something stupid.
There's like a lot of other stuff going on that, like, if we didn't do this, like, I know there's...
JR's having
a talk. And also, at... somewhere around there at a Dave & Buster's, there's Eric Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard,
they're having
having like a debate about the Monday Night War, and Chris Jericho is the host.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if that's like, I don't know if that's before Jakara and then Royal Rumble, but
Jakara's what, a 2:00 start? So I mean, that could be. I know where the Dave and Buster's is. Maybe we should go.
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. Going right from Chikara to the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and
Ring of Honor is the day before, which I'm kind of upset about because I want to go to that too, but it's like there's too much. You know?
And we got really lucky. I know Royal Rumble is sold out, and you snagged those tickets.
Yeah, I got tickets during a pre-sale. It was being super weird. Like the site was like no tickets, and I'm like, shit. So I retried it like the next day after the pre-sale went. Like pre-sale was up for a full day. I couldn't get anything. Went back the next day just on a whim, and there were tickets.
Yeah.
So
and literally after that, friends, family.
Nothing.
Did you get Royal Rumble tickets?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't get them.
You know what's really weird? I was just reading today in Forbes. This pay-per-view is on the secondary market the highest value for tickets since like one of the WrestleManias. So
this one
this
or just
this Royal Rumble. No, this specific Royal Rumble. Like tickets are, I think the lowest they set on the secondary market like $250.
Yeah, I just went because I was curious on eBay, and they're a couple $100.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I mean, if you didn't get tickets for the Royal Rumble, I don't know if you're getting tickets for the Royal Rumble. Maybe they'll go down as the show gets closer, but I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna have to search Craigslist or StubHub.
Yeah, maybe we should sell our tickets, make some money. No, we're going to Royal Rumble. But coming out of Royal Rumble, I know a few people had asked us for predictions for what we think's going to happen. First, let's talk about what's known. We know these people are in the Royal Rumble right now. Dean Ambrose, Kane, The Big Show, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Bad News Barrett, Goldust, Stardust, Rusev, and Bray Wyatt. So those are the people that as of right now, when we're recording this, are in the Royal Rumble. People might get announced later. I'm sure they'll be announced by Monday. A few more people.
I mean, it's going to be a week away. They have to lay down something. I know the Royal Rumble pay-per-view isn't really about the matches, you know. It's about the Royal Rumble. But there is a pretty big main event.
Yeah.
It's now I'm excited because it's not the same Brock Lesnar, John Cena main event. You know,
I was still excited for Brock Lesnar, John Cena, though.
When we went to... It might have been last year's Royal Rumble. That was the first time I saw Brock Lesnar live.
When he just beat the shit out of Big Show with the chair.
Seeing him live in person, this guy is literally like... Everything Paul Heyman says about him is true. Like, he is a beast.
He's a beast.
Like, he is gigantic. So to see him in person, like, it makes that 100% like it's true.
Yeah.
He's not bullshitting you.
But yeah, now with the addition of Seth, that does make it more interesting, especially because, as Seth alluded to on Monday, he can use that Money in the Bank contract even if he loses. Mm-hmm. So he can, theoretically, Brock Lesnar can pin John Cena, Seth can come up, curb stomp him, we could have a new champ. And it's kind of up in the air. I mean, who knows?
Yes. And I think that we could kind of talk about something else we were going to talk about, this whole, like, what the heavyweight, the title, the world title.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you want? Like, if Brock Lesnar is gonna win and it's not gonna be on Raw every week, especially, you know, this is the start of the road to WrestleMania. You need to see the champion there. Even he doesn't have to fight, like, but it's just tough to, like, that's the main belt and it's never around.
I kind of like what they did this past year, though, where they didn't have him around, because it almost made it seem like Brock Lesnar's too good to appear on TV. It makes him... I think maybe their original plan was Cena, Brock Lesnar.
I guess it's better than giving away big matches every week. Yeah. Like, Seth Rollins and John Cena, how many times did they fight? Yeah. Seth Rollins fought Roman Reigns. That could have been a pay-per-view match. Yeah. Like, it just...
Yeah, I mean, Brock Lesnar hasn't fought on TV since he's been back, and when did he come back? 2012?
Yeah,
he hasn't fought a single match on TV. So, I mean, they're at least protecting him in that sense and keeping him a big main event draw, making him special. And I think that helps the world title right now because when the next person gets it, I think it's kind of more elevated.
So what do you think there's going to be a cash-in at the Rumble?
I don't know. He's still got a little bit of time left. He won it in July, right?
Want to hear a random idea? Okay. Not as much as far as, like, I don't know about the whole cashing in, but we still have this whole, unless we find out something on Monday about Ryback, Ziggler, and Rowan, they're supposedly fired. What if Ziggler comes into the match, costs John Cena the match, and we get a Ziggler Cena match at that leads up to WrestleMania? Because John Cena got Ziggler fired.
Yeah. What if it's Ryback that comes in or Rowan? I like Ziggler. I
just think there could be more of a feud between Ziggler and Cena, just because, like, out of that whole team, it seemed like those two were the closest, and Ziggler won that match for them, and then Cena just brought them back. Like, so, you know, he kind of screwed over.
That's true.
Ziggler, and I think if Ziggler turns on Cena, it's not gonna make Ziggler a full-on heel. It's gonna be the whole CM Punk tweener type thing.
That could work. The way you explained it definitely makes sense for Ziggler to come back that way.
Just a random thing. Just random things I think about.
Yeah.
I think I even thought before when Roman Reigns came back at the last pay-per-view, he put, like, Rollins through a table or something and cost him the match. I thought that could have led to, like, a feud there, but it was just a match on Raw.
Yeah. But, okay, do you see, because we still have some mystery people, do you see any of those guys appearing in the Royal Rumble? Ryback, Dolph Ziggler, Rowan?
I mean,
even if Dolph does cost Cena the match, he could.
I think he would, if he costs him the match, then he's going to be on the Authority side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's just really hard to say they're going to be, those guys are going to be in that Royal Rumble match unless something happens on Monday, something happens on SmackDown, because we all know this firing storyline is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, they're not really fired, but it's just, come on, you gotta do, they can't just be a surprise in the Royal Rumble.
What about this? If the WWE title match is before the Royal Rumble, Dolph Ziggler comes out, costs Cena the title or an opportunity to win the title, either Brock or Seth win. Then from there, we see Ziggler backstage shaking hands with the Authority. They put him in the Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, I think that would, like, that's the title match. I think is before the Royal Rumble. Anyway.
Sometimes they go back and forth. Like
last
some
year,
years it
Rumble
is.
was last.
Yeah,
but I think it's because they didn't have a big main event. The main event was Lesnar and Big Show, wasn't it?
No, it was Cena? Orton and Cena.
Oh yeah, and that was like how many times did we see that match?
Yeah.
This is a big main event that I could see it being after the Rumble.
Yeah,
but
it depends on who's going to win the Rumble too.
Yeah.
Because last year I think that's why they put the Rumble last, because it was Batista's like return match, and they expected everyone to cheer him. I think was there confetti or something, or fireworks, pyro, something when he won. And
I just know
everybody just shit all over. I think the same thing will happen this year if Roman Reigns wins. Sorry.
Yeah,
but I think Philly will piss and shit all over him. Literally.
I think if I don't think Daniel Bryan's not going to be in the Royal Rumble, but if this whole thing on Monday, if that's their way of getting Daniel Bryan out of the Rumble, so, like, people know going into the Royal Rumble match that Bryan isn't in it.
That would be stupid on their part, because, one, I think Royal Rumble tickets are so high right now because he's coming back into the Rumble and he wasn't last year, and I think people are on the fence. I think they think either him or Roman Reigns are going to win. And they want to go because if Daniel Bryan wins, they get to cheer. If Roman Reigns wins, they get to boo. I think that's why tickets are really high right now. So if they announce that he's not in there... If
Daniel Bryan isn't going to win, they need to make the winner be a heel that needs to get...
Eliminate Daniel Bryan.
If the fans, everyone hates him because of that, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, make Bray Wyatt win. Because the people will hate him even more.
Yeah. So, who do you think is gonna win the Royal Rumble?
I don't know. I remember when The Undertaker lost at WrestleMania. I thought The Undertaker was gonna win, but there was like...
Against Brock Lesnar last year, yeah.
There was the little devil on my shoulder that was like, it would be so cool if The Undertaker loses and everyone would be like shocked and pissed off. But there's that part of me that was like, yeah, I kind of wanted Brock to win. So
I see where you're going with this.
I kind of have that guy visiting me, and he kind of doesn't want Daniel Bryan to win.
So, are you suggesting that Brock Lesnar retains the title at the Royal Rumble, Undertaker goes into Royal Rumble and wins, and then we have Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania with the Undertaker winning? Is that where you were going? Because that's where I thought you were going, and that's where my head's at now.
You think the Undertaker is going to be in the Rumble?
What if the Undertaker comes back? No one would see it coming. No one would see it coming. Everybody is locked on. And I'm just thinking about this now. Everyone is locked on Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. Undertaker comes back, wins the Rumble.
If he comes back, he needs to be number 30, and it needs to be quick, because I don't even know if he's number 29, will he even make it to the ring before the 30th entry comes out? Because did you see that most recent picture of him?
Yeah.
He's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I don't know, but don't you think that would be a cool full circle to that storyline? Undertaker loses. He loses at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar goes on a tear for the rest of the year, dominates the WWE, becomes world champ. Undertaker enters the Royal Rumble, wins it.
So he
faces Brock Lesnar in a rematch, wins the title, then could even possibly retire, going out as champ. That, to me, makes sense.
I mean,
I'm sticking with that.
That's a good
That's
way.
my prediction right here.
That's your prediction.
And I just came up with it.
And then the only other thing is, could you see Sting costing anyone something at Royal Rumble?
I think we'll see Sting at the Royal Rumble. I don't know what he'll do. I'm not sure if he'll...
I think...
he'd have to appear at the Royal Rumble because we're running out of time if he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania.
I think we should save our final Rumble predictions until after this.
Raw. Yeah. But I don't need to save mine because that's mine. Undertaker is winning the Royal Rumble and winning the title at WrestleMania and retiring.
And I'll let you know if my little devil guy leaves.
All right, so a few more things we can try to predict. Any mystery people that maybe you don't necessarily think 100% they're going to be in there, but you would like to see come back? Surprise people. I'll start if you're not ready.
Yeah, I'm not ready.
I mean, I think we're in Philly, big ECW territory. Like you said, we're going to be at the ECW arena prior. I think we're going to see some ECW guys. RVD, Tommy Dreamer maybe. I know Tommy Dreamer has ties with TNA and has shit on WWE recently, but I think he could come back.
I think he even works in production with them.
For TNA. So maybe not Tommy Dreamer then. Are Dudleys signed with anybody right now?
I listened to the Saul Monster dude, and he made this random prediction that Bubba, Bully Ray, or whatever is going to be in the Rumble. And I was like, what made you think that? And he just said, like, he's just random, nothing in particular. And
maybe just because it's Philly.
Yeah, but he hasn't been on TNA.
He's not signed with anybody, right?
No. So I guess like it's
because he worked House of Hardcore a few months back when I went,
and I mean,
so did Devon.
I've heard him on a couple podcasts saying how he thinks he would be a good feud for like Lesnar or Cena.
Bubba said that personally.
So if they don't come as a tag team.
He's definitely elevated himself since he's been off WWE TV.
Yeah, he's had the time to do good promos and stuff.
And WWE's roster is so weak right now that if he came back, he would be a top star, even though he wasn't when he left.
Yeah.
Like, look at the guys that are around right now. There's not a lot of top stars. So.
Yeah, and I mean, he could be a top star, but it's not like they need him to be a John
He doesn't
Cena.
need, no.
He doesn't. He could be...
He's an upper card guy.
He could be an upper card, and he could feud with the... After he does whatever he does and come back, I could see him fighting Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, Bray Wyatt, stuff like that. He could do like they've been doing a lot of gimmick matches recently, and Bubba's good for that. I mean, he did all the TLC stuff, so I could see him and Dean Ambrose tearing it down in a tables match, TLC, whatever.
I'm trying to think of like that whole like they bring like an older guy back just for the like
Papa Shango.
Oh yeah, that would be sweet. I think we were thinking we wanted that last year or something.
Yeah, every year Papa Shango is rumored to come back, and it never happens. I'm gonna wear my Papa Shango shirt to WrestleMania or to Royal Rumble.
Maybe they'll finally give Jake the Snake a shot.
Maybe. I know Blue Meanie was petitioning for a BWO return. I don't think that'll happen, but you never know, because ECW, Philly, we could see a member of the BWO. Hopefully it would be Stevie Richards and not the Blue Meanie, or somebody else, but not the Blue Meanie. I mean, Blue Meanie's all right, but
yeah, I'm trying.
Do we really want to waste a spot on Blue Meanie?
I'll think about it, and then next episode.
Okay. So I guess we can move on. We got somebody that asked us how we feel about the current champions. I know you already kind of alluded to your feelings on Brock Lesnar being off TV.
The thing though, I love Brock Lesnar because it's like it's all serious. Like you just get this whole like vibe from him. But I just think like I don't know. I like when the champion's there more. I like how you said like he's not there all the time, so you don't get sick of him type of thing. But I just think with WrestleMania around, you just need that, like...
Definitely on the road to WrestleMania. I feel like... Well, remember, he only works a certain amount of days per year, so they may have been holding back on him for this portion because they knew they'd need him from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's also an option. Personally, I like Brock Lesnar. I like him as the champ. I guess he could be on TV more, but I kind of like what they did with him this past year. They made him dominate Cena, beat Cena again, and then go off TV for a while. Other current champions, we have the Usos as tag champs. I kind of forgot Usos were tag champs. Yeah. I still thought Mizdow were tag champs, but I hope Mizdow gets it back.
But I think I keep hearing about a split between them.
I mean, that could work, but... They need to have a plan for Damian Sandow after, because he's super over right now.
He needs to, like... I was thinking about this today. I was like, if he, like... beats the shit out of The Miz for treating him like shit, and then just... He's gonna have to say something to the crowd to, like, keep them on his side, And get over that, he's... As much as everyone loved them, mock being the stunt double and doing all the stuff that Miz does, he's not going to do that anymore if he's not with the Miz.
I think if the Miz and Sandow break up, people will be on board with Sandow during that feud, but it's what comes after if they stay on board. Like, they need to have something lined up for him. He needs to roll right into something off the Miz and keep his momentum going. If they let him kind of fizzle out like Zack Ryder did when he had a lot of momentum with the crowd, with Cesaro, same thing last year. He had a lot of momentum. They let it fizzle out. I see them... They could possibly do Mizdow having a match with each other at WrestleMania. It's just, what do they do the next night on Raw, which is the biggest Raw of the year, basically.
So then we have the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, that is Wade Barrett now.
He fought Sin Cara tonight.
Yeah, which I'm sure he retained, right? But Sin Cara got a win over him recently, so... I mean, who knows? Maybe Sin Cara is working his way up the ranks. I mean, he's doing good down in NXT. It's crazy how that happens. Like, Sin Cara went back down to NXT after the Botchamania Sin Cara left. Sin Cara goes back down to NXT and kind of starts... he gains some momentum down there with the Lucha Dragons and is now coming back up to the main roster and matches with Bad News Barrett, Wade Barrett, whatever you want to call him.
I like Barrett as a champion. I didn't not like Ziggler as a champion. But
I love Ziggler as a champ. I thought he... But you can tell he loves what he does and is passionate about it and wanted to elevate the IC title again.
And if him losing the belt means he gets to be in, the championship picture or bigger stuff than that.
Well, yeah, he's in the main storyline now.
Then it's like, fine, he doesn't need it.
Yeah. But no, I like how they had him kind of hanging on to the title, and now he dropped it in a meaningful way to Wade Barrett, and hopefully Barrett continues to carry on that title. And I hope him and Cesaro feud over it for a little bit, because I know they had a match at one point when Wade Barrett returned.
Cesaro needs something.
Well, have you seen him and Tyson Kidd?
Yeah, I mean, I like that.
New tag champs, hopefully next year. Or this year, I mean.
They're with Adam Rose, though, so.
Yeah, but, I mean...
At least Adam Rose is trying to do, like, a heel type thing now.
Yeah.
But,
Rusev?
Yeah, Rusev. I like how he's undefeated still.
Me too.
I think it's really cool.
He hasn't been pinned or submitted.
Yeah.
He's been counted out.
But, I mean, it's going to have to end sometime.
Do you see Cena ending it at WrestleMania?
It's either going to be Cena or maybe it's going to be Ryback. Because as much as people don't like Ryback, that's the thing. People seem to love Ryback now.
I hate Ryback.
Yeah.
I still think, as CM Punk alluded to in his interview, Ryback's dumb as fuck.
But he gets like, he gets the crowd response.
He does, but I don't know. I hate him. I think I've hated him since he first came out. I was never a Ryback fan. I was never on board with him.
But I just don't see what Cena beating Rusev is going to do for Rusev. I think, or do for Cena. Wouldn't it be meaningful for someone to beat Rusev, but it would help them too?
Yeah. So I guess if we're looking at it that way, the only people it would really help Ryback and Roman Reigns, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or
somebody new that
someone from NXT.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I'm not even going to go into any other
I just think when Rusev loses, I don't really know what's going to happen with Rusev. So hopefully...
Yeah. I hope he's not like one of those... Like how they used to do back in the day where they brought in like a big heel and he was kind of dominant for a year. It was usually a foreign guy. Mm-hmm. And then after he lost, he went away. Like we saw that with a bunch of people like Giant Gonzalez, stuff like that. I really hope he doesn't go that route because I do like Rusev. I think he's extremely athletic for a guy of his size. He does a lot of cool moves like spinning heel kicks, stuff like that, and all those other kicks. I don't know. I think he's really entertaining, and I hope he doesn't go away after he loses the...
Yeah, I can't... And, like, if Rusev goes, we need to find something for Lana.
Yeah, Lana needs to stay on TV. But I guess we could get into... We had some people bring up this. The Elimination Chamber isn't happening next month. It's been changed. I think the pay-per-view is called Fast Break or
Fast Lane.
Fast Lane.
Fast Break's a candy bar.
True. Which will probably be, is better than Fast Lane. But no, like I'm okay with them removing the Elimination Chamber between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I know people are saying that it's canceled. I haven't heard that it was canceled. I think it's going to be moved to later in the year.
That's
right?
what I thought, but then I read that
it's completely canceled.
And Stephanie said the reasoning was because of the Elimination Chamber structure. Mm-hmm. It's hard to book it in arenas anymore because they have the giant scoreboard and they can't really hold it. So I think if they're not going to have the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, if they could at least, we have this pay-per-view coming up. We know the arena could hold the Elimination Chamber. Let's have an Elimination Chamber match.
It doesn't need to be a set day.
Even the Hell in a Cell doesn't need to be a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
That's one of the things I was going to touch on with this. I'm fine with them removing the Elimination Chamber as a pay-per-view. I want them to remove Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view. I want them to remove TLC as a pay-per-view. Yeah. I think all those gimmick pay-per-views are dumb, and it kind of, like, with TLC, like, it was just spot fest after spot fest, and it takes away from the show. So, I don't know, I think if you know something's coming up, it loses its value. Like, okay, Elimination Chambers every time this year, Hell in a Cell is every time this year. Mix it up a little bit.
And I guess they don't even need that pay-per-view because there's only one belt now, right?
Elimination Chamber? Yeah. Well, I mean, the original Elimination Chamber, it only had one, right? They only had one title at the time? Oh, no. It was to find the new champion for Raw.
Yeah.
And Shawn Michaels won. So, yeah, they did have two titles at the time. But, I don't know, I kind of like the Elimination Chamber match.
I like it, too.
I think, put it somewhere like, I don't know, September. What's going on in September?
It doesn't have to be a pay-per-view. It doesn't have to be a certain time. It could just be like these 6, what is it, 5 or 6 people?
Yeah, 6.
We're gonna put them in a chamber at this pay-per-view because that came up. Like,
Yeah.
there doesn't need to be a specific pay-per-view.
And it doesn't even have to happen every year.
No.
Have it be a special thing where it's saved for, like, whenever.
Yeah.
Like you said. It's... I don't know. I think they should keep it around, but we'll see what happens. As far as I know, it hasn't been completely canceled from this year, but...
Yeah, we'll see.
Another question we got asked is some WrestleMania predictions. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, though?
I just think it's hard when we don't even have our full Royal Rumble predictions.
Yeah. Okay, let's go this route then. Do you see Sting wrestling at WrestleMania? And if so, who do you see him against, or who do you want to see him against?
I could see him, and I think him and Triple H would make a lot of sense now.
It's kind of leading that way, so I think something will happen between them now.
That's why once we see what happens on Monday, I think we could see if there's a better chance of him being at Royal Rumble and why he's going to be there.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense. So I guess we'll hold off on WrestleMania predictions until after the Royal Rumble at least. So then another thing that was brought up, we have SummerSlam is probably being moved. It was originally supposed to be in the Izod Center, which is a few hours away from us. We had planned on going, but I mean, now the Izod Center is being announced as being closed, so we don't know where it's going to be. Hopefully they just move it to either New York or somewhere else in New Jersey. I'm hoping for the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. I think that would be a good event, or a good venue for them. They've had other events there.
Yeah, I think they're good.
Could be
as long
cool.
as they keep it in the same general area,
Yeah.
that's fine with me. But
As long as it's somewhere that we could go.
yeah,
I'm even fine. We went to Survivor Series in Boston. That wasn't that bad of a drive. It was like 6 hours.
I mean, Pittsburgh was 5 hours.
Yeah, keep it in Pennsylvania, Maryland, somewhere we could drive to.
And when it's not like when it's in the summer, it doesn't, because then you don't have to worry about shitty weather.
Yeah, like when we drove out to Pittsburgh and there was just a ton of snow on the ground. That was great. One other thing we have to talk about, and that is NXT and some of their main events like Our Evolution, which I thought was one of the best shows from last year.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I watched it at least 2, maybe 3 times, or watched it twice and then went and watched certain matches again.
Yeah.
I'll admit, like, before the show, I didn't see what the whole talk about Kevin Owens was, and then when I saw him wrestle, and what he did to Sami Zayn, like, I got it. Like,
he's a badass. Like,
yeah, I think I just saw him, and I didn't get, I didn't think he had, a good look to him.
Yeah. He doesn't have a typical WWE
he
look.
looks like a dude who hangs out with my brother. But
But see, that's kind of the thing. Like, he kind of, to me, almost reminds me of, like, that bully in school. Like,
and that's the thing. Bullies would probably hang out with my brother.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't saying it that way, that your brother's a bully or anything, but he kind of just, he gives that vibe. Like, when he first came in and he was a face, I kind of had a feeling he wouldn't stay face too long. After he and Sami Zayn hugged, I was like, okay, nothing's going to happen tonight. And then when he slammed them back on the guard or on the entrance ramp and then powerbombed him on the ring apron, I was like, holy shit, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I'm glad I watched to the end because I saw the credit come up and I was like about to shut it off, and then I was like, okay, it's still going.
And it could have ended and it would have still been
it still would have been amazing, but that put it a little over the top.
That was the cherry on top.
Yeah. But that Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville match, that was insane. I mean, the wrestling alone was great, and then you have that great storytelling, which was awesome, but frustrating at the same time, because why can't they do that every week with WWE? It was such a simple storyline of Sami Zayn's trying to win the title. He can't win it. He's presented with an opportunity to cheat to win it, and he has this internal conflict, throws the belt down.
And I think it just comes down to, it's like none of us know 100%, but it just seems like this is Triple H's show.
Yeah.
And it's not even that it's Vince McMahon, Raw's Vince McMahon, or the
It's
main
Vince
roster.
McMahon.
I just think it's Vince McMahon, but it's like NXT doesn't have. I hear it's like tons of like a ridiculous amount of writers writing Raw, like and writers that don't know wrestling.
Yeah.
They're from writing TV shows.
Yeah,
and shit
wasn't like somebody from Friends at one point writing
it's
it.
like. It's like Vince McMahon could have good ideas, but when these guys are feeding him these stupid ideas, and they have, that's what CM Punk said in his thing too, talking about. So it's like, I don't put all the blame on Vince McMahon, even though I think like he's like an old dude. And
I think he's way out of the loop right now. I mean,
it's just hard for me to, like, just because of everything he's done.
No, I know, and you want to respect him, but at the same time, he needs to realize that he's out of touch. When he's saying that nobody in 2014 reached for the brass ring, and you have guys like Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan that bust their ass every single night and are so over in an organic sense where they're not being packaged by WWE. They're not being pushed by WWE, especially Cesaro and Ziggler. And they're still getting over with the fans. Like, they're grabbing that brass ring. Like, that's kind of an insult to those guys.
The only thing you could think about is maybe he just doing it to push them, you know?
Maybe. I mean, Vince is an evil mastermind, both on and off screen. So, who knows? But, I don't know. NXT is my favorite show right now that WWE's putting out.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Even the women's match.
Yeah, that's what I look forward to. That the way I used to look forward to Raw. Like people always complain about the Mondays, but the Mondays were my day. Like that's what look forward to Raw.
I was waiting for Mondays every single week.
Monday was like my weekend, and now it's like sometimes it's just tough to sit through Raw.
Yeah.
But I look forward to that Wednesday now.
And I think what you said earlier about it being short, it's short and sweet, and they get right to the point. There's no bullshit. Even the commentators, though, they actually call the match. It's little things like that. Like, they aren't bullshitting with each other. They're not... They do, to some degree, but they're not like JBL and Michael Cole, where they're just trying to make each other laugh the whole time.
Yeah. Here's a random prediction or hope. If you notice, the last two Raws at the beginning of the year, they did pyro. And they cut pyro before because of budgets and stuff like that.
At the beginning of this year?
When the whole, like... went down.
But they did pyro at the beginning of this year, you're saying?
The beginning of Raw, every show, they did pyro intro.
Okay.
And they showed it on TV. The first Raw, they showed the actual, like, Raw intro. They didn't just started off with the Authority doing a promo.
Which Roman Reigns ended that.
Yeah. So now, it might not happen. It might just be a wild...
Is this your Booker T, Shucky Ducky, Quack Quack?
Yeah. I'm hoping that this first pay-per-view of the year... that they change the entranceway for one. Like they don't do the same entrance every single pay-per-view. Especially the big four.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I feel like I'm okay with the entranceway being for Fastlane.
Like they adjusted little things or they might have put like the lights different or something like that. Yeah. But for the Royal Rumble or something like
make it.
And I'm not like from watching like the pay-per-views back in from wherever the 1999 2000 wherever.
Do you remember the Backlash ones where they had
that's what I was just on, and I was like,
and
technology
they incorporated them in the
and
matches.
Like the way things are built is so much different now, but those things didn't look like big budget stuff. I know that I read that the reason they do the things they do now is because of that entranceway is like a HD entranceway, so when record like the way it looks and stuff like that. But there's just certain things you could do to change it up, you know.
Plus, it probably helps them. They save on money, right? Because they're just transporting the same entrance ramp over and over again.
It's the same thing that's used on Raw and SmackDown. Yeah. But I just think there could be little things added, you know.
No, I agree. Especially like you said for the big four, they need to add something, make them more special.
SummerSlam is the same. But I think I like Royal Rumble. Just that's right up there with WrestleMania for me. Yeah. WrestleMania is the Super Bowl. There's nothing's going to be bigger than that. But that just the Royal Rumble. You don't even have to be a wrestler. Like the Royal Rumble.
It's entertaining.
Match,
Yeah. I started to go back and watch the Royal Rumbles again. I watched the first one that Hacksaw Jim Duggan won. That was only 20 guys. It was entertaining. I'm probably going to follow up with it next week and watch the second one. I believe Big John Studd wins that one. Actually, no, he does, because that happened today in history. Big John Studd won the second Royal Rumble ever today, back in '89. So there's a little trivia fact for you.
But I think we covered everything. And
yeah. If you notice, our show's a little longer now.
Yeah, we're at an hour and 5 minutes.
Damn. Hopefully you guys watch all this, because our shows used to be 15 minutes due to a YouTube ban that was on us, some type of restriction.
My bad.
And put up a Survivor Series video literally seconds after we were at Survivor Series. He filmed something, put it up. WWE found it immediately. Vince
McMahon came out, and I thought, people need to know about this.
Yeah, and it was before we even put up a video. Like our first video, that was our first video we put up. We thought it would get people to our page, and it did. We were on ProWrestling.net, and they posted all of our
sites were taking it.
Yeah, they put our video up, and then it got taken down, and YouTube's like, "Hey, you can only have 15-minute videos from now on." And then we got an extension since we've been.
Hopefully, they allow us to put this all up if we have to break it up into 2 or whatever. Yeah. I don't know how long you could have a YouTube video.
You could have it as long as you want. Yeah.
Well, then
we have free reign, so hopefully we could put the whole hour up. If we can, and you're still watching, thank you. Let us know feedback, comments, give us questions.
Next week, if we figured it out, we're gonna see if we could, bring other, friends of ours that are into wrestling just as much and do like a Skype video type thing, interact. Maybe we could figure out something we could, talk about, argue about, whatever.
Yeah, we want to do more special things, bring people on, maybe even bring in some live people if we have friends that are around. Yeah. We'll make this really special and keep going from here, and hopefully we'll be a little more organized next time. This was kind of a last minute thing. We literally just decided to start doing this yesterday, I think, or the day before. Sometime this week, and so here we are. We're back, and I guess. You want to?
It's been so long.
What was your closing line?